This year, 24 AD, TACFARINAS' revolt is finally ended by the Romans. The Gangxi Emperor makes some questionable decisions with his newly obtained power, and the civil war rages on in China. Welcome to the Yearly Histories, where we will highlight the major events that take place in the Common Era year by year. Last year, we saw two significant deaths, including Drusus of the Roman Empire and Wang Mang of the Qin dynasty. Both men were very influential and powerful, so there are multiple contenders flooding into the power vacuums left behind in Rome and China. To kick off the year, the rebellion against the Romans in North Africa, led by TACFARINAS, finally comes to an end. It's been 7 years since the deserter of the Roman army decided to lead a coalition of Berber and Musulami warriors against the encroaching borders of the empire. Beginning this year, TACFARINAS starts to style himself as a leader of a war of national liberation, which clearly the Romans do not want to hear. The propaganda he uses is highly effective on the Numidian people, and his rebel army swells in size. He is joined by a large number of Morai warriors who turn their back on their young pro-Roman king of Mauritania, Ptolemy, who had recently succeeded his father, Juba II. Emperor Tiberius sends in a new commander this time, Publius Cornelius Dolabella, who he's hoping will crush this bothersome rebellion for good. By the start of this year's campaign season, TACFARINAS feels confident enough to lay siege to the Roman town of Thubursicum. Dolabella rushes his army to the scene and sweeps away TACFARINAS' forces with an effective infantry charge, which causes them to flee west into Mauritania. Now the hunt for TACFARINAS begins. Receiving aid from the young king Ptolemy, Dolabella splits his force into 4 divisions to cover more ground. This tactic is effective, and TACFARINAS is spotted in a camp near the ruins of the fort of Azia. The Romans sneak up on the camp and attack the stunned rebel troops. The result is a massacre at the hands of the vengeful Roman military. TACFARINAS' entourage is surrounded and overwhelmed. Realizing there is no way he could avoid being captured, TACFARINAS impales himself on a spear and dies rather than being humiliated by the Romans. The dreams of the Musulami tribesmen of being able to regain their traditional grazing grounds from the Romans dies with TACFARINAS. Dolabella immediately begins to impose a tax registration system for the entire plateau. Dolabella also appeals to Tiberius in an attempt to be rewarded with the title of Imperator, but the emperor declines. And with that, TACFARINAS' revolt, which broke out in 17 AD, is now over. At the start of the year in China, the situation resumes after the killing of Wang Mang and the dissolution of the Qin dynasty. The Gangxi Emperor's first action is to move his capital from Luoyang to Chang'an, where the previous administration had its capital. Although the Weiyang Palace was sacked the previous year during the overthrow of Wang Mang, the rest of the city is in workable shape. Once reaching Chang'an, the Gangxi Emperor decides to strip the titles of the very chieftains who helped him gain the throne, and sends them away from the capital. This is a highly questionable move to make so early on after taking power, as most of these chieftains still have a significant number of troops that are loyal to them. Quote, "These short-sighted and self-serving political maneuvers embittered the chieftains and made the emperor the victim of a single faction in power. He had lost the chance of controlling events by having 2 rival factions at the court, which were nonetheless united in their ambition to complete the conquest of China." Unquote. As time passes, the Gangxi Emperor's control of the fertile and populous areas of the Great Plain slips further from his newly established grasp. In response, Liu Xiu has finally arrived with his army to quell any discontent among the populace. It is essential for the Gangxi Emperor to regain control of this area if he wants to feed those that have remained loyal to him and extend his influence to the rest of China. Elsewhere, the Red Eyebrows rebel army is still hanging on, and divides into 3 units, which ascend on Quanqing. Looking to the southwest, the Gangxi Emperor sends his generals Li Bao and Lu Zhang to try and regain control of the Sichuan region, where the local warlord Gongsun Shu has taken control as a rebel leader. Gongsun Shu knows the terrain well, as he was stationed in the area as the governor of Daojiang under Wang Mang. Both generals are defeated by Gongsun, and he proclaims himself King of Shu. It seems that this Gongsun may be craftier than some of the other minor warlords, and more of an effort will be required to deal with him. Now it's time for In Memoriam, where we look back on the lives of prominent figures who died in the year. TACFARINAS was a Berber deserter of the Roman army from the province of Africa Proconsularis. Not much is known about his early life before leaving the Roman military. Once starting his rebellion, he succeeded in causing havoc for the Romans through raids and guerrilla warfare tactics at the head of his rebel army. Severe pressure was put on the regions in North Africa essential to grain production in the empire. Multiple Roman commanders were tasked with ending the revolt, but in the end, it took a spirited effort from Publius Cornelius Dolabella, along with aid coming from the Mauritanian client king to finally end the revolt. Strabo was a Greek geographer, philosopher, and historian who lived in the Roman Empire, specifically the Greek-speaking Asia Minor. Traveling widely, he gained a vast body of first-hand knowledge that would inspire his greatest works. He is best known for producing Geographica, which presented a descriptive history of people and places from different regions of the world known during his lifetime. He also produced the most detailed maps of the ancient world up to this date. We will leave this year, 24 AD, with TACFARINAS' revolt finally coming to an end, the Gangxi Emperor removing political power from his chieftains, and Gongsun Shu taking the title of the King of Shu. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to be notified when the next iteration of the yearly histories will be released. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next year in 25 AD to continue the fascinating stories of the world of antiquity and cover its major events.